Jin BTS becomes Ryu Hyun Kyung's inspiration. Moment at Kwak wedding becomes the spotlight. An unexpected moment at the wedding of famous YouTuber Kwak suddenly became the center of attention for the South Korean public, not because of the luxury of the event, but because Jin BTS inadvertently became the inspiration for famous actress Ryu Hyun Kyung. The question is, what actually happened behind that brief moment that could shake the Korean entertainment world? In an entertainment world full of symbols and meanings, every small gesture can become a big message. When Kwak's wedding took place, the cameras of the invited guests captured a brief interaction between Ryu Hyun Kyung and Jin BTS. Although it only lasted for a split second, the expression and aura emanating from Jin apparently left a deep impression. Ryu Hyun Kyung, who is known as an actress with high artistic sensitivity, is said to have been inspired by Jin's presence, who appeared with a calm but captivating charisma, a rare combination of elegance and inner strength. According to sources from Korean entertainment circles, after the event, Ryu Hyun Kyung uploaded a series of reflective photos and writings on her social media. She wrote, "There is a figure who exudes calm even in the midst of a crowd. It feels like seeing a character that I have wanted to play for a long time, but have never met in the real world." The public immediately guessed that the figure in question was none other than Jin BTS, who that night was present as a special guest and close friend of the bride and groom. It didn't take long for the upload to go viral. Many netizens discussed how Jin, who is known for his worldwide handsome image, was able to break through the boundaries of visual appearance and influence the views of other artists. Ryu Hyun Kyung is even reported to have started preparing a short film project inspired by Jin's energy and calmness, a form of artistic tribute that rarely occurs in the modern entertainment industry. The fact that an actress of Ryu Hyun Kyung's caliber can make such a brief moment a creative inspiration shows how strong Jin's influence is in the Korean cultural landscape. Jin is not just a member of the legendary music group BTS. He has transformed into a symbol of discipline, elegance, and self-transformation. After completing his military service, Jin reappeared with a more mature personality, a gentler expression, and a gleam in his eyes that implied the spiritual journey of a star who had gone through the storms of popularity and loneliness. In the context of Kwak's wedding, Jin's presence seemed to be a still point in the midst of the hustle and bustle of a celebrity party. Many guests admitted that although Jin didn't talk much, his presence brought a calmness that couldn't be explained in words. "He's like a calming center of gravity," said one guest who attended. Even people who don't know him personally can feel his positive aura. Meanwhile, public reaction to Ryu Hyun Kyung's inspiration varied. Some consider it natural that an artist would find inspiration from fellow artists, especially when that figure exudes charm and depth of character like Jin. However, others consider this to be a form of the Jin effect, a phenomenon when Jin's presence triggers emotional and reflective resonance among public figures and fans. Interestingly, after this news emerged, many fans retraced Jin's videos and photos at the event. They found that Jin was wearing an elegant black suit with a calm smile that barely changed throughout the night. But behind that simplicity, his expression held something deeper, as if Jin was present not only as a guest, but also as a symbol of calm in the midst of the world spotlight that never stops judging him. Ryu Hyun Kyung, who is known as an actress with realistic and emotional acting abilities, seemed to find a mirror of the character she had been looking for. Someone who is strong without having to shout, authoritative without needing to dominate, and inspiring without intending to be worshipped. In an unofficial interview circulating in online forums, a close colleague of Ryu Hyun Kyung mentioned that the actress is now writing a script inspired by a male figure who is able to bring calm with just a glance. This story adds a new chapter in Jin's career journey, which seems to no longer be limited to the world of music. He now stands as a cultural figure that transcends the boundaries of the stage and screen. Even in casual moments such as attending a friend's wedding, Jin still exudes values that make many people reflect about simplicity, sincerity, and the meaning of true presence. The public is now wondering, does Jin realize how much influence he has on the people around him? And is the inspiration he gave to Ryu Hyun Kyung just a coincidence, or a sign that Jin is entering a new phase in his career as a figure who inspires across fields of art, regardless of all the speculation? One thing is certain. The moment at KwaktTube's wedding has changed many people's views about Jin. He is no longer just a global K-pop icon, but an individual who is able to penetrate the inner space of other artists. And if it is true that Ryu Hyun Kyung will bring that inspiration into her film work, then the world will soon witness how one glance, one smile, and one moment from Jin BTS can give birth to a new work on the South Korean art scene. The public is now faced with an interesting dilemma between believing or doubting. Is it true that Ryu Hyun Kyung was really inspired by Jin BTS just because of a brief moment at KwaktTube's wedding, or is this just a media construction created to attract public attention? This question is not just about two famous figures, but about how modern society interprets information in a digital era where it is increasingly difficult to distinguish between fact and sensation. The moment that supposedly happened at the wedding event does seem real on the surface. There are photos, there are videos, and there are narratives that are widely spread on various social media platforms such as TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. However, is such visual evidence strong enough to conclude that Ryu Hyun Kyung really got deep inspiration from Jin BTS? Or is the public just trapped in the illusion of a narrative shaped by algorithms and the speed of information? In the Korean entertainment world, phenomena like this are nothing new. Often, small moments are magnified into national issues in order to create viral conversations. Every expression, glance, even the distance between celebrities can be overinterpreted by netizens who are thirsty for stories. So, are we witnessing a sincere inspiration between two artists, or just victims of the greatness of the sensationalism machine working behind the scenes? Think for a moment. Why could this news spread so quickly? Who first came up with the narrative that Ryu Hyun Kyung was inspired by Jin? Was her statement on social media really intended for Jin, or was that interpretation just the result of public interpretation that was too quick to associate one sentence with a famous figure? We need to ask questions like these so that we don't just become passive consumers of information, but also active judges of the truth presented. Some media observers even say that the virality of this issue could be part of a natural publicity strategy. By involving two big names, Jin BTS, who has global power, and Ryu Hyun Kyung, who is respected in the film world, news like this will easily dominate the online conversation space. But are we aware that behind that sense of admiration, we may be part of a perception game that is deliberately created to strengthen the popularity of both parties? But on the other hand, there are also those who see it from a more positive point of view. They believe that true inspiration can be born from a brief encounter, even just from one glance. If it is true that Ryu Hyun Kyung found a figure who reflects her ideal character in Jin, then this event deserves to be called a form of authentic artistic communication, something that cannot be engineered by the media or algorithms. But again, how can we distinguish between emotional truth and narrative shaped by the public? We need to realize that the information circulating today comes from various channels that do not necessarily have journalistic validity.